Yeah, I know these videos are too long. We have a new advisor from online, and I think she's going to cut me off at the kneecaps. Yeah, I suppose I should set up a stopwatch or something, but I think I get through about 5 slides. Actually, you'd be amazed. I get through about 50 to 60 slides. Well, then again, I got 75 minutes. You guys are actually getting it pretty easy. But anyway, I need to think about my channels, and so am I going to use storefronts? Actually, I find it kind of funny because the President of the United States has criticized Amazon for killing mom and pop stores. But what killed mom and pop stores are Walmart and Home Depot. They wrecked the mom and pop model long before Amazon came along. And actually, Amazon is one of the biggest supporters of entrepreneurs. They actually have 2 million storefronts right now in Amazon. So they're a good route to go. Are you going to sell through third parties? Are you going to sell through affiliates? Like if I make a medical device, maybe Medtronic will want to pick it up as part of their portfolio. That's very common in biomedical. Am I going after verticals or horizontals? Horizontals being general businesses like cars, verticals being specific segments such as SUVs. Or am I just going to go it alone? I'm just going to do it myself. And that's a good way to go because then you get to keep all the profit. So one of the toughest things for an entrepreneur is how do I get somebody to buy something when I am not a known quantity? And so what it comes down to is price plays a very big role. And that's that what behavioral economics tells us is that elasticity still plays a role in what people are willing to pay. However, here's the real crux of it. I could be extremely wealthy. Losing the money on that product doesn't cost me anything. However, what people who tend to have a lot of money are very good at, and I've seen it firsthand, is it's not about the price, it's about the deal. If they don't perceive your value to be high enough, they don't want to get ripped off. And that goes into the doctrine of fairness. For those of you who took 310 with me, may remember that when we talked about the psychology and the behavior of customers. And so, if the stakes are low enough, then they'll take a chance for gain. However, if your pricing is on the high side, they're going to want to limit loss. For example, if I say to you, I'm going to flip a coin. If you get it right, I'll give you $1.50. If you get it wrong, $1.10, say. If you call it right, you get $1.10. If you lose $1. And so most people would say, hey, that's positive expectation on my side. Yeah, what the heck, I'll put it down. On the other hand, if I say to you, you bet $10,000 I'm going to flip a coin. And if you win, you get $11,000. If you get it wrong, you lose $10,000. Well, totally different stakes. When stakes are high, you want to minimize the risk of loss, so you don't go for it. On the other hand, when the stakes are low, you're more likely to take a chance for gain. And what pain represents is loss. And the reason why loss is such a big deal is because we treat losses 3 times what we treat gain. Since it's about perceived value, you have to tie your product to some value, and that value ultimately ties into Maslow. It's so funny. I've seen so many different theories, and I just look at it and say, that's just a derivative of Maslow. And this is why your branding is so important, because what is your brand does, it expresses the values of you as a product. And so this is the perceived value graph. The one thing you have to look at also is the reference point of where your customers are. For example, if your reference point is to the right, it's very hard to provide gain for people. And so that's why perception is so important. On the other hand, if you're on the low end, it's very easy to provide gain for people. So how does Amazon get around this whole problem? They got 2 million storefronts. They got all new products. So why are people willing to take a chance? It's the reviews. I don't know about all of you, but if a product gets like 2.5 or 3 stars, fat chance I'm gonna buy it. On the other hand, I read the reviews. I look at the reviews on a totally new product. I want to know if they could trust it. And if a product gets very high reviews, people think, oh, somebody's vouched for this. I'm willing to take a chance on something unknown. Because those reviews remove the risk. I have a great deal of admiration for Amazon because Jeff Bezos really thought out every last little detail. So how do I get someone to buy an act? Well, first, I need to understand who my customers are. How do they respond to things? Are they hedonists? Are they inertial, meaning they don't like change? Or are they rational? And so, in terms of acting, we refer to it as know, feel, do. Meaning, do you think first, then feel it, and then do it? For example, what do hedonists do? They pretty much they just pretty much act impulsively, then think how they feel about it, and then later on it's like, oh, why did I do that? And so these can be indicators of tendency of who you're dealing with. We have to look at gain and loss, and again, it's perceptual value. The pain is 3 times gain. That's why everybody's talking about the pain, and that's that because pain is just so much easier to sell. The people will take risks to reduce loss, which means they will take risks to reduce pain. How elastic are my customers? For example, Dr. Cho is extremely elastic. It's like, I'm going to let all you suckers go through the door first and get killed, and then I'm just going to wait a couple of years. I'm a patient man. Watch the price drop by a factor of 3 and wait for them to get all the bugs out of it. Thank you very much. But anyway, low stakes means you take a chance on gain. But again, high stakes, you don't want losses. And so how do I get around all this uncertainty? And that's why I need influencers and recommenders. And the way I can find them is through social media. And so this gets into the values, the perception. And so it's about my brand. What do I try to build with my brand? I want to build awareness and I want to build association. When they think of my brand, how do they go about feeling about it? Now online I posted a link to Steve Jobs talking about brands. And it's worthwhile seeing. The one thing Jobs did leave out, though, is he talks about how brands are about value. That Nike doesn't talk about sneakers. Nike talks about champions. And so the value, that everybody's an athlete and that you're special too. On the other hand, if you don't have the product to back up that value, I mean, when Jobs first came out, with the Apple I, there was nothing like it on the market. When Apple came out with the iPhone, there was nothing like it. And this is why I don't think he would have ever let iWatch out, because it didn't dazzle. It wasn't stunning. And so it doesn't back up the brand of Apple. What drives brand? Well, first what we want is brand equity. We want people to pay more than for what it's worth because of perception. And so what we need to relay to our customers are our attributes, our functional benefits, and give them a personality. What are our emotional benefits? What are the things that are symbolic? And through that, we build up awareness, association, we build up loyalty, and perceived quality of our product if we brand correctly. And this is why brand matters so much, because from our value proposition, what are we creating? It's about our attributes and personality. That defines our value proposition. Our message allows us to convey our attributes and personality. And this is where all the pieces, as well as the way we take them through the journey of differentiation, relevance, esteem, and knowledge. If we don't get those points across, especially differentiation, then we're a commodity and we're probably not going to make it. And will our message stimulate people, and will it cause them to resonate? Resonate means is that they choose to become active. This is why brand matters. And in the next lecture, I'll talk about how do we go about finding influencers? How do we find these people to get us out of this mess of being unknown to people?